Good day, good people. This is lecture number 2. Still digit check tutoring. Um, we, as promised, are going to do separation of variable. So separation of variable is slightly like direct integration, but not quite. It's quite different from direct integration. But then, if you didn't, or if you don't care about reading the headings or reading the content or the chapters, you might think they're the same. Now, direct integration is only applicable when the derivative is expressed in terms of a single variable, say f of x. When the derivative depends on two variables, for instance, y prime is equals to f of x and y. We have to break up the dE since one can only integrate an expression with respect to one variable at a time. Consider dE dy over dx is equals to f of x and y. Remember, on a direct integration, you only have dy over dx is equals to f of x, or dy over dx is equals to f of y. It's only applicable when we are looking for, or when we are dealing with only single variable. Now, here the derivative is a function of both x and y. We can factorize f of x and y into factors containing only x terms and y terms, i.e., f of x and y is equals to p of x and q of y. Thus, dy over dx is equals to p of x and q of y. This can be manipulated to get, you understand? So now here we must respect x as well as y. Now, because here for us to be able to integrate, we need to make sure that p of x is with d of x because they are both respecting x. And then we must make sure that dy is with q of y because they are both respecting y. That one was very conspicuous. Now, this is what happened. This is what happened. Then now, as you can see, now they are applying direct integration since they have already separated them to dx and dy. Dy is with qy, and then dx is with p of x. Now, this is the first example. Very basic. Solve the dE using separation of variables. First thing first, multiply by x, multiply by x. Then x will cancel this side. Actually, multiply by 1 over x, multiply by 1 over x. X will cancel this side and x will also cancel that side. Then that means you will have something like this, right? Or you just use straightforward cross multiplication, whereby you will have y dy and is equals to x dx, right? So we're gonna choose where this sign is going to be. That's how math is simple. You just choose, you put this negative because at the first question, in the first question there was this negative. So you just choose where you're gonna put it because it's the same, right? So now this is it. Right, so here you just have to say y 1 plus 1 divided by 1 plus 1. This is too basic. It's boring as we can, as you can see. I know you are very bored because you need to do something that is even that thing. Now, this is the final answer. And remember, constant is constant, guys. Constant is constant, right? So you can say A is constant, B is constant, D is constant. When we don't only use C, right? And then here they've decided to use 2A because they have now multiplied. They wanted it to be in an circle function or just in an explicit, right? So that you write it in a good form. But then, anyways, even if you end it here, it's still fine, right? It depends on how they asked you the question and how they want you to represent your final answer, right? So cool. Now solve the DE using separation of variables. Same thing. You need to make sure that whatever that is having x should go to dx, whatever that is having y should go to dy, right? So simple. You play with your algebra, right? You play with your algebra. The most important thing is to master your algebra and practice your algebra so that you can be fast enough to finish. You play with your algebra. Now here, they've decided to say divide by 1 plus y, and then leave this one. Then from there, we take this and put it that side by cross multiplication, right? So that's how it is. Okay, guys. And then remember, I always have to do you some examples that are a bit harder than these ones that are here, that I'm just explaining. Maths is not like other subjects. You don't explain maths. You don't explain and elaborate the memorandum. You don't do that. You do your own explaining, right? So this is how we're gonna deal with it. So these ones, guys, you can just screenshot and then go through it and solve it anyhow. But then now I have to solve for the exercises that are at the end of the slides. I believe I have explained enough separable integration, which variables which I have to now solve the real things. And also, I said I will do initial solutions questions, because on the initial solutions equation, guys, you just have to integrate, and after integrating, you have to solve for C. Then from there, you write your final answer in anyhow they will want you to represent it or present it, right? So now this is our exercises of separate. Now the first question: solve the following differential equation: dy over dx is equals to 1 plus y divided by 2 plus x, right? So first thing first, we need to make sure that we make or we take whatever that looks like, or whatever that is composed or consists of y to the dy, and then whatever that consists of x to x. That is very simple to do, and it's the most simplest English I've ever had. So we can never go wrong here. Now, first thing first, we can just say cross multiplication because we don't want to make mistakes. Then we will say dy, then it will be 2 plus x, and then we will say what is equals to 1 plus y, and it will be dx, right? So I wish it was dy here and dx here, because we were going to just do direct integration, but it's not that. We need to take this 2 plus x to dx. How do we do it? Let us now divide both sides by 2x, 2 plus x, 2 plus x. Now that this 2 plus x is deciding to leave dy, because dy is the father of 1 plus y. So also 1 plus y should decide to leave this dx and go to its father as well, right? So we have to now what? Okay, let's say now we have to do what? 1 plus y also is deciding to follow it there as well. It's deciding to follow as well. It's deciding to follow as well. Then from there, now dy decided to say fine. If now my daughter 2 plus x, or dy is deciding to say if now my daughter 1 plus y is back, now you should cancel and go away from me. Also, dy decided the same thing, that no, the x has to say no. If you are leaving, now my boy is back. Now dy over 1 plus y is equals to dx over 2x, 2 plus x. Now we have nothing to manipulate. dy is with y because they belong together. The x is with x's because they belong together. Now we need to direct integration. Then now ln 1 plus y is equals to ln 2 plus x plus c. Better. Simple as that. This is how you should solve it. Right. Now let's go to number 2. Number 2, it's saying the x over dt is equals to sine t over sine x. First thing first, no, here it's straightforward. We just have to cross multiplication. Then it will say sine x dx is equals to sine t dt. Then from there, direct integration, because x is with dx, t is with dt. Then from there, the integration of sine x is cos x is equals to cos t here plus c. Then it's done. Simple as that. Now here we have this. It's just done like that. It's done. Now we have dy over dx is equals to y squared plus x y squared divided by x squared y minus x squared. Right. Now first thing first, we need to simplify or factorize. Actually, we need to factor out our y squared, 1 plus y, 1 plus x. right? Divide by, we factor out our x squared, then y minus 1, right? Now we have y over dx is equals to this kind of a thing. Right. Now, what is it that we must do? Let's just give them cross multiplication. Give them cross multiplication first. So it will say y squared x plus 1 is commutative. It's not a problem. Dy is equals to, no, it's actually dx. So this one will go there. Then it will be dy y minus 1 x squared x squared. Now, another thing that we need to do here is to divide, or that we have to make sure that the y is with what is consist of y, and the x is with what it consists of x. Now here we need to divide both sides by y squared, right? Y squared, right? Now because we have decided to divide by y squared, be in the same line, in the same step, x needs to decide to leave as well. X is leaving as well. The same time, x is leaving. This algebra is very hard, guys. Many people fail because of they don't know how to play with them. So you need to know how to play with them thoroughly. They can live at the same time, no problem, no problem. They can live at the same time. They left now. Cancel, cancel, right? So now we now have x plus 1 divided by x squared dx is equals to y minus 1 y squared dy. Then we have to apply direct integration. So they need to split x divided by x squared plus y divided by x squared dx is equals to one thing, y divided by y squared minus 1 over y squared, direct in dy somewhere here, right? So we will have something like integral 1 over x plus x to the power negative 2 dx is equals to 1 over y minus y to the power negative 2 dy. Then we integrate in x plus x to the power negative 1 divided by negative 1 is equals to ln y, then plus y to the power negative 1 plus c. This is how it should be the final answer of this. It's not important, guys, that you just go with me and have to know the exact answer and all and all. The most important thing is that you understand what's going on. You understand what's going on. That's why I can choose to write anyway. Just you need to understand what's going on so that you can be able to apply it. Now, this one, I was supposed to find where I can write this one in a nice place, right? Now, number 4, cos square y dx minus cos x squared psi y dy is equals to 0, right? So first thing first, chase this away to this side. Cos square y dx minus is equals to cos square x psi y dy, right? And then another thing should be we need to divide both sides by whatever that is not having what it takes for it to be integrated. Now let us just take this risk and say divide by sin y, divide by sin y. I know this sin y is leaving its dead at the right hand side. I know it's leaving dy at the right hand side, but then it's going to its brother cos square y, right? Right? So now if it's like that, this and this will cancel, then we'll have cos square y divided by sine y dx is equals to cos square x dy, right? So now we will need to divide by dx, and then this side will divide by dy. We will need to divide by dx, and that side will divide by dy. Now we need to divide by dx. 1 over dx times 1 over dx times 1 over dy times 1 over dy. It's that, don't be confused. It's just the same thing of living at the same time. That terminology of living at the same time. When you live, I live. If dy is living to see its kids, dx should go as well, right? So the same thing. Dx cancel, and then dy cancel, right? I love it. I love it. This cancel. Now we will have something like cos square y divided by sine y dy, right? Don't forget that we divided by it. Don't forget that we divided by it. We divided by them. These things came or jumped the signs in a way of division, right? So now we are at the safe and we are at the correct side. But then remember, there is nothing that can be respected if it's under the division. There is nothing that can be respected if it's under the division. Why am I saying that? And what is it that cannot be respected? dy or y, dy or y. So what is it that we need to do? We need to flip them so that they can be on top, right? So when flipping them, we will have sine y over cos square y, then dy will be at least at the top. Then we'll have dx over cos square x to be at the top as well. Right. Now to this side, I don't know, but then I'll solve it for you. But it's not hard when it's here now. It's not hard when it's here. When you are here, you enjoy them. Right. You have to use u substitution here. You need to say u, that u is equals to cos y, right? So here, because it's actually, we have to apply direct integration first. Then from there, u is equals to cos y. Then here, because it's 1 over cos square x, it's the same. That means now it's what? Y, it's equals to, okay, it's 1 over cos square x dx. That means it's what? 1 over cos square x is the same with sec square x, right? So now let's come here. This one is going to, we're going to derive this with u substitution. I believe you now know u substitution, right? So your final answer should be, your final answer should be cos, negative cos is equals to tan x plus c. The integration of sec square x is tan x plus c, right? So this one we can further write it as 1 over cos x is equals to tan x plus c. Then you do what? Negative sec x, no, sec y, we're respecting y this side, sorry. So sec y is equals to tan x plus c. That's it. Then you need to practice. We will actually continue with other ODEs, right? So we have covered direct integration, we have covered separation integration. If you haven't watched the direct integration, you can go back to it so that we can walk together through the ODE journey.